Good morning.
Hello.
We made it through another week.
We have. And even before we went live this morning, podcast episode went out, The Ghostly Antiques and Thrifting.
Oh, I wondered which one you were going to put out. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So if you have any questions about that episode, if you've listened to it already, because I throw those out at like 4 a.m. So for your drive-in, you're soon to be on the way into school, if we have those still in school with us. Yeah, we can talk about that for you, or old episodes. If you have questions about old episodes, you can type them in. We'll answer them. But Marianne,
Yeah,
what did,
actually, somebody asked last night about the last the last one we did. So people are listening. This is good. This is really good.
hello Sotsuko, and we had Julie and Heather.
Ted is sort of status quo. We finally see a specialist tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get some answers for this tomorrow. I this is Somebody's got to give us some answers. That's all I know.
Yes. Quit pushing this off and going meh.
Yeah, it's in my world. I really truly believe that people over the age of 65 are just a drain on the economy, and they don't really care what happens to us. So I don't know. Oh, how did you like it, Pam?
The book club, and
Yeah.
hopefully you're meeting the one last night. I was not on it. I'm kind of on a semi vacation. So and I've heard many thoughts on this book. Um, so if you were a part of that book club last night, let us know. Woo Woo Wednesday. Yeah. We're gonna have to get some shirts made.
Yeah, seriously.
Sapphire liked the podcast.
She was on a lot. She really has some good information. She's got a lot of knowledge about the little folks. She's really good at it. She knew. I mean, she could give people answers that I could not. Good morning, Poodle Pants. Sue, you were on last night too. You asked some good questions too. That was good.
Oh, and Emily. Thanks to Emily. She's already listened to the podcast.
Good.
Oh, and Amy. So we were kind of debating in the beginning, like, was that early too early? Would it be that annoying thing you turn on your phone after your alarm goes off and you get the notification, new episode available? So I'm glad it's working out for everybody. Well, hello, Nancy. Let's see here. And we have Baylor and our friend Goth, Karen. Let's see. Trying to go back up and scroll, make sure I have not missed anybody. Because I love when Marianne and I, like, a lot of times we're on here before 10 a.m. and we're just kind of chit-chatting, discussing, dates, and then it's 10:01 or 10:02, and we're like, crap. And there's already comments like coming in. So I'm like, oh, good. Things to start the conversation. Let's see. Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, Christine said, yeah, she says, I listened to part of it last night and I will finish later. I'm excited to finish. It sounds like this one was a bit rough for folks.
Yeah. And we didn't just come up with this book off the top of our head. It was actually recommended by somebody. And I don't remember who, but they must be really, really, really smart to have gotten through that whole book. That's all I have to say. So
Yeah, and Karen says, was at the book club, was a struggle to finish.
yeah, seriously, it was bad.
Mary says, happy Wednesday, everyone. Just started listening to the podcast recently and really enjoying it. Well, thank you. And that podcast, if you're new, is on pretty much every platform except for Apple, because I just keep getting the runaround of why they will not take the feed. And everything they tell me to fix it or what's wrong with it is not an issue. I can prove that it's not an issue, and it just will not go through. So we're pretty much everywhere else. But I think the easiest is you can listen on Amazon Music and Audible for free on both of those platforms. And a lot of people use Amazon anyway. So you can open up a new tab up there. You don't have to download anything. So that's kind of one of the easiest ways to do it. And then this web address right there will take you to the website hosting page for it. So it'll have every episode that's out there, and you can just click around as you want, listen to any order. It doesn't matter what order you listen in because they're all standalone topics. Yes.
And next month, we're doing How to Survive Mercury Retrograde. I have started this. You can read this one. This one is readable. So just so you know. And this is interesting because this is How to Survive a Mercury Retrograde, which we are going to be in, which is great. So we'll do the book during a Mercury retrograde. But it also gives retrogrades for Venus and Mars, too, which is good because I would like to know about that. So, but this one is on September 13th at 7 o'clock. And again, if you're not local, you can come in and stream on it. And I think this one people will enjoy.
There we go. Yeah, Spotify. A lot of people are doing Spotify for the podcast too. Yeah, Wendy said, I really like the book club, but missed the last one. Heard the book was very textbook-like. Listen to the last one and look forward to hearing what the next one will be. So it's maybe skip the Beyond Fairy and just get on with the Mercury retrograde book.
Yeah, like I said, it just presented too many questions. And all I have to say, if what this man wrote about is really happening in Europe, I'm glad the ones he's talking about didn't make it all on this side of the world, because I don't know about this man.
Kelly says, hi, ladies. I'm planning a trip to New Orleans. Anything I should be aware of other than carrying my seed? Have you been there? And if so, what's the most haunted?
I've been there, and you hit the nail right on the head, Kelly. Keep that seed on you. Have fun, go wherever you want, take whatever pictures, go on your ghost walks and everything else that they have down there, listen to the hype, but just keep your seed on you. They do a lot of cemetery tours down there, and most of the people, I don't think any in New Orleans are actually buried. I think they're all above ground. And normally cemeteries are fine. There's nobody ever there, because who is an earthbound spirit going to get energy from? Nobody. They're all dead. But in New Orleans, oh yeah, there are ghosts in those cemeteries, because they get the energy from all the people that pay all that money to go on a ghost walk. So
right
there you go.
I haven't been in New Orleans. It's on my bucket list, but I have not been down there yet. Wendy asks, was August 8th a retrograde?
August 8th?
No, and that would have been the Lion's portal, if you get into all of that. And I was going to say, Marianne, do you pay attention to the Lion's portal?
I do not. No, okay. I got enough on my page. I'm not looking for anything new. So, no, there's only like 3 retrogrades of Mercury in a year. And this one starts the day before the winery. I think it starts on the 9th of September. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it starts on the 9th, because the wine event is the 10th, correct?
Yeah, it's on the 10th.
Yeah, so you're going to get some feelings about the retrograde already on the 8th and the 9th, and it just rolls after that. So this will be really interesting, because we have 2 events in the Mercury retrograde, both at the winery. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting. And I think, don't we have like a full moon or almost full that night too? So
yes, it's a full moon.
Really pretty.
Yeah. It'll be lit up real good.
Take that multiple ways.
That's right.
Rhonda asks if the quinseeds can help with physical healing.
No, I am sorry, it does not. But the good thing is, if you've got a seed on, any of the meds or anything that you're using to recoup or take care of whatever the problem is not going to be disrupted by an earthbound spirit. Because if you're taking prescription drugs for any reason and you've got earthbound spirits in the house, they're not working like they should. And people that have just had surgeries, recoup is really long, especially if there's earthbound spirits in the house. So if you have your seed on you, you'll feel better, but it won't get any worse.
And you say that, Marianne, and as you're talking, and I'm like, yeah, how many years ago when I had the one surgery in the old house, you hadn't cleared it yet, and it was taking forever for that grafting to heal. Now, they're like, you're back already, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
It's difference when nobody gets in your space. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your loved ones, your live ones, fine. I mean, but even them around you all the time can be annoying. But think about an earthbound spirit that you can't even see and it's around you all the time. Ugh, no.
Mm-hmm. City says, I listened to the one where you talked about your encounter with the devil. It was very fascinating. That was what, like last week or the week before?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Let's see. Jeff says New Orleans is a little dangerous. Be careful while you're down there.
Seriously, I almost think that the street people, the live ones, are the homeless and that are in like Santa Monica, California, beside panhandling, they really don't, they're there. But
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans, they get up in your face. And like I said, this is the live people. And the seed isn't going to protect that. So just be aware.
Right. In regards to the book club and the book last night, Heather said, I didn't care for the author's tone when mentioning so-called facts about fairies, as if we should accept them at face value rather than giving us a contextual background, such as letting us know where the beliefs come from, like the Calder group people responsible for the info.
You're absolutely right, Heather. Seriously, somebody said that it was like a professor in a college, and I think English, British people, except for Lewis, have a pretty dry sense of humor. And it shows particularly in his writing. So.
And Rhonda backed about the physical healing with seed. She goes, thanks. I keep the dring bag on my belly when it's upset, and it does feel better in about 10 minutes.
Wow. Something new. I didn't even know that. Thanks for letting me know.
Baylor asks, do those who die from COVID have anything unusual to report?
Most of them that I've had to go to their funeral services, whether through Zoom or in person, I think the thing that they were most upset about is that they died alone. And some people want to die alone, but they still want some contact. Maybe they want you to leave the room when they take their last breath. But some of these people were in intensive care for so long that they couldn't talk to anybody. And it was really, really hard on people that English is not their first language, because it was very, very hard for them, the ones that could talk, to communicate with, the medical staff. And they felt so alone. Some of them were angry with themselves that they didn't get the vaccine. And again, that's, everybody's personal reasons for taking it or not. But no, they're just sorry it happened and wish that it didn't.
So we have a new friend, Cheryl, says, good morning, new to the show. What is the seed you refer to?
When a house is cleared and All the earthbound spirits are gone. I give people a quincy that goes over every outside door, and an earthbound spirit can never come into that property again. What's the sense of me coming out and charging you whatever I have to charge you to come to? And I walk out and get in my car and leave, and the neighbor next door that has a couple ghosts in her house go, "Oh, yay, I can go next door now because nobody else is there." Well, they can't get in. So that's the whole thing with the seed. It protects you. It protects you from anybody ever putting negative energy on you, and it definitely works.
There was a question from Melanie that asked, can you put a sea charm in a stuffed animal for a child?
Well, that's probably a good idea. Never thought of that, especially if you have a situation where it's a separation of the parents, and so they spend X amount of time with you and X amount of time with the spouse. Your house could be protected, and so there would be no ghost bothering the child, in your house, but maybe your spouse's house is not cleared. And with, I know, especially if it's, a child that always has their stuffed toy with them, that's a great idea. I never thought of that.
And then Denise asks, Marianne, have you ever been to the Queen Mary? And if so, what was your experience there?
They were going to do the Ghost Whisperers show from the Queen Mary, and something happened and it got canceled. But we had to do a run through on the Queen Mary to see if it was even viable, if there was something going on there. And any cruise ship has, it's like a hotel. Of course, there's stuff going on there. And the Queen Mary was pretty interesting because they had a lot of foreign earthbound spirits on there, which, I don't usually walk into a room and a ghost will say, "Hey, hi, Marianne." But when they go, "Cheerio," it's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
That's a fun greeting. That's not one you hear all the time.
Like never.
Now, the other side with COVID, have you ran into anybody who's died from getting the vaccine?
On, I don't think so. I do not think so. I know that I did somebody that had terrible complications from COVID. They're still alive, but they've got heart problems now and that. But they never had the vax, so I don't really know. And of course, you could get. I mean, Ted and I both got COVID after we had all of our shots, so you can still get it, but at least I was really bad. Ted didn't have any symptoms, but I ended up in the hospital. And toward my end of my stay, I was feeling a little snarky, I guess. And one of the doctors came in because it was like, they come in a moon suit because they don't want to catch whatever you have.
Right.
And it's just, you don't feel good and they're annoying you. And so this doctor asked me again, "So now did you think of anybody else you were around?" It's like, "No, we were three places. No, no, no." And then I said, "Oh, I'm so glad I had the shots." And he took a beat and he looked at me through his helmet and he said, "Well, you'd probably be on a respirator now if you hadn't had them." Who knows? I don't know, because now there's a new vaccine out now for one of the variants. Do we start all over again? I don't know. Polio's back. You want a polio shot all over again? I don't know. Didn't we have polio on little sugar cubes when we were kids? Isn't that how we took them? I'm way older than you, so you probably don't remember that.
Yeah, I think mine, and I could be wrong, it's been a minute. It was like a little square needle with multiple needles in it. And
No, that's a TB test.
Was that? Okay.
They do that on the inside of your arm.
Because especially like before we were PCSed over to Germany, we had to go through a whole vaccine after vaccine.
Yeah, you probably had it.
So many.
But the TB test is a little pronged round thing about the size of a quarter, and they push it on the inside of your wrist, the kid's wrist, and then they usually take their ballpoint pen and put a circle around it because you can't see it, and then you watch that to see if there's a reaction, and that's supposed to tell you, give you the results of the TB test. So, but that's not inside of the arm. I know that smallpox, when my girls were babies, they had just quit giving that. They said the kids didn't need that anymore. It's the thing on everybody's arm when you're kids, the way they scratch it, you have your thing on your arm.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor that I was taking the kids to at the time when they were infants, I said, I want a smallpox vaccination. He says, no, we don't do this anymore. I says, I don't care. I want it anyway. And he just looked at me. He says, well, I don't think. And I says, are you going to tell me that they just came out with this 2 months ago and you don't have the vaccine here in the office? He said, no, I have it. And I says, well, I want it. He says, why do you want to make her cry? I says, I want her to have it. And I had my girls done on their thighs so it wouldn't hurt, they wouldn't have the mark on their arms. But both of my girls have that. So who knows what's going to come back around.
Yeah, well, and I laughed whenever they did those where they would have to watch for a reaction because my skin is so sensitive. You barely scratch and it'll puff up red for a while anyway because you aggravated it. And I'm like, no. That's because you touched me. It has nothing to do, stop it. So like at one point they did an allergy test down my back and everything was inflamed because, they pricked the skin and they're like, yeah, you're allergic to every grass and every tree except for like one in Australia, some tree and a type of grass that was like in Europe somewhere. And I'm like, how about because you pricked, sensitive skin? I'm like, whatever. I'm not listening to you.
No, yeah, pick and choose.
Let's see. Julie says polio vax is drops in the mouth now. So.
Well, that's what they did. Like I said, I remember I was in grade school and you had to go 3 different times and they were red drops and they put them on a sugar cube and they popped them in your mouth and you stood there and you had to either chomp on that sugar cube or suck it down before they would let you go to the next person. But we had to do that 3 different times. So I believe that's the way that was. But again, that was the 50s. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, Brooke says, my mother remembers handing out polio vaccines in her elementary school. They were put on top of sugar cubes. That was the inspiration for a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Oh, aren't you smart, Brooke? I never would have put Mary Poppins and that together. Never in a million years.
So a lot of people are talking about the sugar cubes, which I don't ever remember having that. I believe mine was some sort of needle thing.
Yeah, you're younger. You have to.
Yeah, and like Sandy says, no, our polio shots came in 4. They started putting it in the little cup and the babies drank it. Plus smallpox vaccinating was the most dangerous shot they gave. They were discontinued in the 60s.
Well, a little late 60s because my kids were born in 69 and 72. So I still, like I said, Amber, I think Amber, it was no big deal to get the older ones, but the younger one though, that's the one I had to fight with the doctor to give her.
So let's see. Yeah, a lot of people remember the sugar cubes. And there's some intertalk between like Goth and Rhonda about the whole like intuition, knowing how to put the bag on her stomach when she wasn't feeling well. And somebody made a comment how it's interesting about how spirits can help heal or not. And from the tradition I'm coming from, the earthbounds, and Marianne, you've said this, they don't help heal anything. They are more of a sickening agent. It's those that have crossed over that help guide healing. And in my tradition, it's listening to the land around you and even like the trees and stuff who everything interacts energetically and being able to listen to that and follow that. But there have been times in healing work where I have had to pull like an attachment off or remove something that was exacerbating. One instance was a gentleman who was drinking way too much, and standing off in the corner was what they would call in some of the hoodoo traditions like the cause spirit. They're causing the ailment, they're causing the addiction to get worse. So it depends on the type of spirit. Have they crossed over? Are they on the other side looking down to actually help? Or are they earthbound and causing more ailments, or just making it worse, Marianne, like you say, by being around, draining your energy, not letting you sleep, which is not letting your body heal, because that's when you do your most healing work, is when you're sleeping.
Right.
So
No, I think you're right. And the thing with the dream bag, which, like, it's funny she brings that up because we just had a full moon and I just made a new batch of dream bags because I always make them on the full moon. So I was out in the garage making dream bags, and I wonder, now that you say that, I wonder if it's the healing couldn't come from maybe part of the moon or the other ingredients that are in the dream bag. See, I'm not a healer,
mhm.
and I know that there's a lot of herbs and stuff that really help healing. So, I mean, I know there's lavender in there. I know people that have insomnia say that they never have it again once they use a dream pillow. But I don't know what's in it that makes that work. I mean, I put the same thing in every time, and I've got a list of what goes in it, but I don't know what they're good for.
Yeah, and I mean, and there are healing properties for every flower
Right, right.
and plants. um and it's the inhalation of the real plant substance that get up in the olfactory, then it gets into the bloodstream and all this fun stuff. That's why it's like, if you go get lavender, like fake lavender essential oil from a grocery store where you get a big bottle and it's $5, and you're like, well, it never works. Well, that's because it's not real lavender, it's scented, and that's why.
That's right.
um so
But
there's a lot of
see,
fun stuff that
but
way.
it's weird because of the ingredients that are in the dream bag. There is definitely an odor to them. They have a scent, and some people it bothers them. You know, that's a scent that they'll either get a headache from, but they still want to be able to use the dream bag. And seriously, if they put it in a zipper lock bag, it still works 100%, but they don't smell it anymore. So apparently, that person wouldn't get any good out of using it for healing because they wouldn't be smelling it, according to what you say.
Yeah, if that so what they would do, the dried part, like there's techniques that you can use with the dried plant material, but the actual inhalation parts really isn't going to work because it's dried. There's nothing really coming in, or it's going to be very, very minuscule.
Okay.
So that's why, like, essential oils, true essential oils, work the way they do, because they're either penetrating the skin and then the blood brain barrier, or they're getting up in the olfactory and getting in that way. um but it's really fun. We're actually going to be having like an essential oil like day long class here coming up, and I think it's going to be available online. But Hank, who is a certified aromatherapist, can explain the science behind all of that, and which ones are safe for pregnancy, which ones aren't, and how and why. So like lavender, it helps you relax for sleeping, but too much lavender, because it's such a relaxation, can potentially cause miscarriage. So there's a lot to these plant materials, and using them properly. But in the case of the dream pillow, they're not ingesting it, they're just inhaling. So that's not near as much of a potential for anything negative to
Right.
happen physically. um but yeah, it's very interesting. And there's always that added that the full moon adds potency,
Right.
which then the skeptical science in me says moonlight is just reflected sunlight, so the sun should do the same thing if made in sun, because the moon does not produce its own light, it's reflected off. So unless we want to get into the debate then about what the rocky material is made up, and if that light is carrying the vibration of that rocky material back down.
Yeah. So, but see, there still has to be something with phases of the moon because that is still, you can. do a chart and know when your earthbound spirits are going to be more active in your house, depending on the phase of the moon. And what you're saying, and which is true, it's a reflection off the sun, but it still has to have its own energy somehow. It's because it wouldn't otherwise. I mean, a sunny day like today, my gosh, it would be ghost on steroids, but it's not. So I don't think the sun has that big of an effect on at least earthbound spirits, but I know the moon does. And how and why? I've said it many times. I've got more questions than answers.
Now, Rhonda, there it is, says it could have been the other ingredients as well. And she's the one who had it on her stomach for her healing. Can you ask your relatives if there's a healing component to what they do to the seeds?
All I know is that they do energy work on them. And what that is, I do not know. And I specifically do not want to know because, no, I just get it from them. It's just easier that way. I don't want to know how they do it.
Let's see. And she agrees about the moon. And so now, like, part of my brain's off in this rabbit hole because one of the theories is that the moon actually came from Earth, like there was an impact and it was shot out. So it could be the energy of that material of what makes the moon itself.
You see, it was interesting because once I figured out that that's different times when the earthbound spirits have more energy, then your mind goes nutty. And I start thinking, wow, what is it? Saturn that has 9 moons, or Jupiter? Which one of the planets is supposed to have 9 moons?
In my younger years, I could have, because I really enjoy astronomy.
I think it was Jupiter.
So out of it.
Maybe Ted. Ted, do you remember which planet has all the moons? You don't remember either. Jupiter. I thought it was Jupiter. Which one? Oh, Saturn does too, he said. Rhonda's right, Jupiter, yeah. But I was laughing to myself as I'm thinking, gosh, if Jupiter had people living on it and they had ghosts on that planet with 9 moons.
It's always a full moon somewhere.
That's right. It's never not crazy over there.
Let's see. Yeah, it said the moon is just a giant supernatural energy crystal. Maybe.
Well, that's good. Sure, I'll go along with that.
And Brooke, kind of like my theory, so I feel like you both nailed it. The moon has its own properties, and the reflected sunlight might amplify those properties for us on Earth.
Yeah, and that's another possibility. I mean, you're not going to be wrong by your assumption because it could be part of it.
Christine says maybe it has something to do with the degree of magnetic pull between the Earth and moon as it goes through its phases. And then it makes me wonder too, it's already been scientifically proven that we will eventually lose our moon. It gets farther and farther away. It's very minuscule right now. It's like what is it, like a quarter of an inch every year. So we will not live long enough to ever not have the moon. But what will happen then? So what will the ghosts do then when they don't have?
Well, it depends if we blow up our own planet or not. Who cares? Right.
Well, there's that one.
That's right.
But it's funny because depending on who you are when you come in the store, and if you've been coming in for years and you know my humor and I know you, and they're like, well, what about the full moon? And I'm like, the moon is always full. It's just where we are when we see it.
Which is true.
Do what you need to do when you need to do it. If the moon is full and it works for you, by all means do it. But if you are needing healing or money work, I'm not going to tell you to wait 2 weeks for it to be full again because it's always full.
Right.
Right. And they're like, oh, good point. But I know some people are very, very adamant about waiting. Sorry, this is the back door open and closing. Adamant about certain moon phases, and you only do certain things on certain, or
certain days. Right. Well, it's like the law of abundance. That's only done on a new moon, and there has to be something, with the universe that likes that time period. So.
Oh, so Margie, Saturn has 82 moons according to
Oh
physics.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. I didn't know there were that many. I thought there were like 9 or something.
Right.
79.
Well,
Oh,
right now we actually have a second moon. We captured a small little asteroid, but it's not going to stay more than like a year or something at most. But we captured another moon. We just can't see it because it's so small. But Earth has a second moon right now because it's orbiting us.
and
Uh,
it's only around here for about a year, you think?
yeah, and this has been a while since I've.
Oh, well, then I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah,
Nah.
quick. Open up tab number 42 on my phone.
Yeah.
I am so not ADD. I just have a lot of projects constantly going. So, what is the name of Earth's second moon? The quasi moon named Kamo'olea, after a Hawaiian word that refers to moving celestial object, is not much to speak of, measuring less than 50 meters. Circles the Earth in repeating corkscrew-like trajectory that brings it no closer than 40 to 100 mile times that of kilometers. So we have a second moon for another 300 years. So it's
Oh gosh.
for a while. So there we go. So we do have another moon. If you want to throw
Huh.
that into your,
I'll just deal with the one I know about.
but yeah, it's not one that you can ever see. It's so little. But yeah, we have another moon. Fun times, fun times.
We should talk real fast too about the winery coming up in September.
Yes. So the John Christ Winery on Walker Road in Avon, September 10th, that's from 3 to 10. You can come out, have a glass of wine, get a reading, come see Marianne in person, buy all sorts of dream bags, quinceads, fun stuff, get your book signed, ask questions, bring pictures to show Marianne, see what her take is if you got questions about those pictures. But it's free admission, free to come in. The only thing that costs is if you want wine or food from a food truck, or a reading. Otherwise, you can come out and just enjoy the atmosphere because it's a really pretty.
Very nice. Yeah.
So, but that is September 9th, John Christ Winery in Avon, right on Walker Road. If you plan on really coming out, please be advised that it's a very busy event. Be prepared to maybe carpool with friends for parking because parking can be a little bit of an issue. The company that was being used to shuttle for extra parking, COVID killed them. They're not around. So, yeah, they weren't able
Killed
to.
the business, not the people.
Well, yeah, correct. The business, not
Say, whoa.
but we've seen people parking along Walker Road up and down for a while and then walking back. So just be prepared for that. So if you do want a reading or come see Marianne, earlier is better if you're somebody maybe that has like mobility, like walking issues, and you don't want to walk a whole lot or for long periods of time, come earlier. But yeah, September 9th. And then, I'm sorry, September 10th,
10th.
Saturday. Then on the 22nd, which is a Thursday evening at 7:00, Marianne and stories, lectures, and some wine. Starting at 7, it's at the same winery. So this is definitely 21 and over because the cost of each ticket includes wine for you and admission for Marianne's talk. So that's going to be fun.
And the really cool thing, it's inside, so weather makes no difference, and only 50 people. It is limited to 50, which is really good because your questions will be answered for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll be a good informational talk.
And that winery has some spirits of their own, and that may be touched on in that.
Yeah, you have to check and see if they want them to stay or go or what they want. I don't know what they want.
Yeah, I need to touch base with them today anyway, make sure they have a food truck lined up, or I have to help put the
Right.
word out that we need a food truck. Oh, City's getting closer to us. She says, I'm planning to move to Canada soon. I would do a visit to the States as well. Maybe I could attend one of your events.
Oh, great. That'd be great. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody, the talk that I'm doing in Strongsville this Friday night, it is full. It filled very, very, very fast, which I'm very grateful for. But uh, if any of you are attending that and you're on with us on Wednesday mornings, please come up and introduce yourself. I mean, I like seeing the name there and the little, picture of whatever you have, but it's really fun to actually meet you. So anybody that's coming to that on Friday night, definitely, come up and say hi to me.
Well, and that one is sold out. So unfortunately, no last minute comments.
We would have made it bigger, but the hotel limited us to 100 people, and they said that they couldn't do any more because of staff. They didn't have enough staff, which I don't understand because there's no food. I did ask for a water table, and they're thinking about that. So I don't know what they need staff for, to put chairs up and down. I guess I don't know. But it'll be fun no matter what it is, just to get out of the house too. So
Right. And then we have the Merry-Go-Round Museum in October on the 9th. So the Merry-Go-Round Museum in Sandusky, Ohio. Really neat building. It's got a fun history. It was a post office at one point. I believe it was a Masonic lodge at one point. It's got a big rounded atrium that they have a full size, fully functioning merry-go-round that they'll let you ride at the event, at the end of the event, and a whole bunch of dead horses on sticks that are kind of creepy all over the place. But we give full range of the building to go in and take pictures, investigate. Marianne gives a little bit of a talk in the beginning. They give a little bit of a history talk, and then you are leashed upon the building. And at the end, we compare evidence and ask questions and have a good time.
Got some really good pictures. The place is just full of ghosts, and the ones that stay there, and then the ones that unfortunately come in with some of the people that come in to bring their ghosts with them. So you just never know what you're going to find. But we had people from 4 or 5 different states there, the last place, and it was really nice.
We had people driving in from out of state. It was
Minnesota
nice.
and New York, and yeah.
So hello, all of our friends coming in. City says she lived in Colorado and Washington, but never got to visit Ohio. You should come visit Ohio. We got the rock.
What state is she, what country is City in?
She is, if I remember correctly, China, Hong Kong, and moving to Canada.
Okay.
If I remember the correct on the end table there. Is we mailed her a book.
Oh, okay.
Eugene asked, by chance, are you attending the psychic fair in Toledo?
I do not go to psychic fairs. I'm not a psychic. And there'd be absolutely no sense in me going. So, nope, I don't do psychic fairs. I've been at Melissa's doing, the meet and greet during a psychic fair, but I don't attend psychic fairs, no.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Hong Kong. She's in Hong Kong.
Oh, and the same thing with the winery. I mean, everybody's there for these great readings and things that get done. And again, I'm just there, as a meet and greet, not as a psychic.
Yeah, so you do not have to sign up for Marianne. You don't have to buy tickets, to talk to Marianne. Maybe stand in a little bit of a line in order to talk to her. But yeah, it's free to come talk to Marianne. Sue Emily asks, at the Merry-Go-Round Museum tour, do you need to have your COVID vaccines?
Not as of anymore. I don't even think that they're requiring masks. So it's whatever you're comfortable with.
Let's see. But that's kind of it for the in-person events that we've got lined up right now. We're kind of concentrating on recording for the podcast, which we've got a few in the hopper and more that we'll be recording in the next week or so.
The next Zoom is going to be September 2nd. They're all filled for this month because the ones, unfortunately, that had to be canceled got moved to the next one. So the next one's a big one, but it is filled. So it's the 2nd. And for any of you that do listen to the Raleigh Jane Show I am on tomorrow night at 11 p.m. with them on WGN radio out of Chicago. So that will be tomorrow night. Yeah.
So, so that link right there is what you would use to sign up for the Zoom if you would like to. A couple things. It starts at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are in a different time zone, please calculate accordingly to join us, because we love friends from everywhere. But that's when we start, and we go until everybody is finished. So everybody gets to ask 2 questions. Please keep your questions to current time only. Marianne cannot answer about what happened when you were 10. Cannot tell you what was going on in your childhood home unless you're still there and it's still happening. You must be in the building that your questions are about. Don't come on break at work and ask about your house. She can't see your house if you're not there. 18 and over only. So please don't have the little ones sitting there, on the couch next to you, because some of this topic material could be inappropriate of what's going on in other people's houses. Maybe not yours, but other people. So they don't need to hear that. What am I forgetting, Marianne? Is that all of that?
I don't know. It sounds to me like we got it pretty well covered.
It's almost like just verbatim now, because we've been doing it for a couple years, it seems, already.
Yeah, it has been.
Let's see.
Oh boy.
No germ incubators are allowed at events. Brooke says she may not be psychic, but she is a woo-woo wonder. Marianne is basically a superhero.
No.
And Natalie agrees.
Oh, jeez.
I can't remember if I said this last week or not, but Debbie Draws Funny stopped into the store recently. She had gone back and watched the episodes about Scoop Jesus out of the puke and whatnot, and had said she would make the cards or a bag or something if she knew there were 100 people. So part of me is like, do we set up a pre-order? Because she is local. She's in the Cleveland area. So she is somebody that I can actually get a hold of. And
aren't we lucky?
Yes, we are. And we're helping small business and local artists.
And then you put guilt on top of it. So that's really good.
Well, I have no Catholic guilt. I left that at the door when I left. Melody asked, do either of you know the reason we're given premonitions? Most times there's nothing we can do to help.
I almost think that premonitions sometimes are to warn the person that gets the premonition, so that you are not shocked when somebody dies or something, happens that is not pleasant. Mm-hmm. I don't think, 99% of the time, I do not think it's for you to warn anybody. I think it's for your own knowledge.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, like, hey, this is getting ready to happen, prepare yourself, or be ready for when this happens. Especially probably like if it's a premonition of somebody getting ready to pass, because grief is a very hard thing. And to be blindsided with it, and maybe it depends on the personality. Maybe you'd rather be blindsided and not be waiting for it, whereas somebody else might be like, let me start
giving her a heads up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that's what that is. And I wonder sometimes if that information isn't given to you by a guardian angel or one of your spirit guides, so that, because they would be accurate, because spirit guides are from the light, so that would all be accurate, whatever information. And then of course it's how the individual handles it.
Right. We'll see. And exactly. So, Addie Montum says you may not be able to intervene, but you can be ready to respond.
Exactly. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. I think that's what that is.
Yes, the website says there's openings for September. Yes, it's actually.
We just opened it.
Yeah, like
5 minutes to 10. We opened it.
That's how new it is.
So you're right. There's room.
So it's brand new. So all the slots are open. Have at it. Let's see, what time are we at? Oh, okay, we still got 10 minutes. It felt like so much later. And Karen says, Catholic guilt works wonders.
Oh, it certainly does. I really thought long and hard about buying my girls patent leather shoes when they were little girls.
Mm,
Because that reflects up, and you can see all kinds of things.
yeah, so much with the church. Goth says maybe this was asked at some point already, but how many animals have you crossed over?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Over the years, I can't even imagine. Because there's some houses where there's, a ghost cat that some earthbound spirit will just pick up and take with them.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds, I would think. I can probably say 50 of my own or relatives of mine that their animals have died. So yeah, no, there's a lot of them.
Heather, and yes, I'm sorry, I did not see this question, but it says, do you believe that our crossed over loved ones could help us give a little assistance in achieving the things we desire, like getting a new job, buying a new house, etc.?
I don't think, I think they're aware of what you're trying, and positive energy would come from them, but how much they would actually be able to influence something, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the tradition of the belief of how much help they can give.
That's right. That's right.
So it kind of is, that answer could vary. In my personal belief, I believe that they can help to a degree, either with certain types of knowledge. For instance, like there's quite a few of my family members who are still living who are in the accounting field. Now, but when they do pass, if I've got like monetary questions or, needs, some advice between maybe 2 or 3 decisions, and if that particular person came through during a reading or just kind of like this intuition, I'm like, oh, that was Aunt so. Yeah, she knows what she's talking about. Now, if some other relative who's not that great with money tried to give me some advice, no, not listening to you. I remember how you lived.
The other thing too is that if they really have really good information for you, they're going to come in a dream and tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I already had a person that was buying a double house, that 2-family house, and they were all excited about it. This was going to be their first rental property that they were going to just make all kinds of money off of and everything. And she kept getting this thing of her grandmother. And she says, I don't know. She said, I think grandma's trying to tell me something. And I says, have you had a dream of her? She goes, no, I don't think so. She says, well, not recently. So I knew she had passed, had gone into the light. I says, why don't you think of your grandmother tonight before you fall asleep? She said, oh, okay. She called me 3 days later. Grandma came to her in a dream. That place, she was not going, the people wanted to sell it, but they didn't want to pay for the inspection. And she thought, oh, it looked good to her. And she thought, let it go. The whole second floor was nothing but termites.
Oh, okay.
So grandma did help that way. So in my world, I think you get more help from ones that have crossed over in a dream than you do from a premonition.
Yeah, I think anybody that's crossed over, I wouldn't, if they're earthbound, I mean, and that can.
I have seen where the baby's upstairs in the crib and the monitor's on and you're in the kitchen making cookies or something, and baby's been quiet, there's been no noise, but you get this big, get upstairs, get upstairs, get upstairs. And you run upstairs and the receiving blanket's over her face.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, I think they absolutely can do something on the instant, like right now. But for something long term, I really think it's more through dreams.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I actually had similar when Rune was itty bitty, still a little rugrat on the floor. I was, we were down at Fort Campbell in the apartment. I was working on laundry or something. I was at the end of the apartment, and he was up in the living room with his dad, who was playing video games or something, and just this overwhelming feeling like go check on Rune. And yes, he was by his dad, but dad not really paying attention. And he was sitting there chewing on wires, like right by the electrical. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, he's right there. You didn't notice this. He's like, I was so involved. I'm like, oh my God. Because he was teething and those wires.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no, let's go find something else to go.
Right.
But I mean, he was inches away from like where it even plugged in.
Right. Some lady had her little boy on, I don't know if they even make them anymore. It was a little potty chair. And they used to have the old time potty chairs for little kids, used to have like a little bar across the front that you sat them down in the potty chair and you put the bar down so they couldn't get out. So, they had to sit there, which I thought was a horrible thing to do. But she went in the kitchen. He put him in his potty chair. She went in the kitchen and she got a phone call. That's when it was hanging on the wall. And she picked the phone up and she was talking. She says, I got to go. She says, Bobby's on the potty. She says, I need to get in there. Put the phone down. The whole thing probably didn't take 3 minutes. She went in there. Dad had brushed his teeth that morning and did put the cap back on the toothpaste. And the kid somehow got out of the potty chair and he was pushing the toothpaste into a plug. It's like, it can happen that fast. Somebody gave her a heads up. I got to go now. And she did.
That's good. See, always listen to that stuff.
That's right.
Maybe one of our last questions here. Mr. Miyagi asked, did you ever meet a psychic who claimed they could see ghosts, but they actually could not?
Oh, I hate to tell you how often I find that. And so what I will do is this. Well, I shouldn't probably say any. Well, no, it's okay. I will say, tell me what the ghost looks like. And they'll explain what the ghost looks like. And I'll go, gee, I don't really see that. I says, and if there is a ghost, I'll say, do you see anything over there in that corner where there is a ghost? And they'll go, no. And I'll go, oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'll bet you see spirits that have crossed over and I can't see those. You don't want to tell them anything more than that. I very, very seldom have I found somebody that can actually see the same thing I'm looking at.
Vicky says, I would love to talk to my mom, dad, or sis, all of whom I have seen in dreams, but no matter how I try, I'm never aware that I am dreaming while asleep. So I never try to talk to them when I see them. I do have a dream bag.
If you work weird hours, if you take some medications, that will definitely reduce the amount of you remembering your dreams. It's not you don't dream, you don't remember them. Everybody dreams. So it may be a lifestyle. A lot of people that have a nightcap and then go to bed, they don't remember their dreams. So it could be something, or people that are on the computer or on their phone until, actually never turn it off. It's on their pillow on the other side. Those people sometimes have a hard time remembering their dreams. So I think it could be a combination of a couple things. And start asking just for one of these people. The other thing, try it on a holiday, your birthday, or their birthday. A day that would mean something specific to who you're trying to talk to. And just think about that person before you fall asleep. That may help you remember.
Well, and part of her problem is that she's not aware that she's dreaming when this is happening. So maybe asking them to like wave first or something to cause you to start interacting.
Right.
They don't usually speak first, but I'm sure.
No, you have to speak first. They will not talk until you start. Even if you say something like, hi, grandma, you see her there and you say hi. Don't wait for her to say, hi, honey, how are you? You have to reverse that.
Yeah. So maybe asking for that bit of help before sleeping would kind of cause that to work for you. But, well, we're at 11, Marianne. Was there anything you wanted to cover before we're done?
No, I think we're good. I need you to get off and enjoy the rest of your semi-vacation.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Bye, Marianne.
Oh,
Oh,
we're
good.
just behind the computer.
Good.
Oh, I am the guy who just put together a 12-foot skeleton and he's sweaty. Woo.
Yeah, I got one of
Put
those.
it up. Where'd you put it?
It's in his backyard because I tried to. I so wanted this in the store. I'm gonna have to find like a 8-foot or you know what? We didn't talk about the mushroom circle either.
I didn't know. I didn't bring it up because I didn't know if you were waiting or what you were going to do with that.
Well, we can talk about that real quick, but yeah, that was like maybe a foot or two from the ceiling, and that was just feet to pelvis. He was not going to fit, even if I took ceiling tiles out. So he's going to live in a backyard for now.
The
But
one that was up here on Broadview Road, the same day you got your skeleton,
yeah,
we were coming down Broadview Road, and there was one in somebody's front yard. And I remember looking up at this thing, thinking, "Oh my God, that thing is huge."
yeah,
Is it? And it's August. They're putting Halloween stuff up on it. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
how big he is.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yes,
He's really huge.
he is. He's fun. So I'm gonna have to find like an 8-foot or a 9-foot for the store because my plan was to leave it up year round and kind of change clothing, have him hold a sign, something. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work. And so I thought at first of maybe taking out a ceiling tile, and he is not posable except for the arms. So
you can't make him kneel
because the insides of the legs are like those poles that you have in those pop-up tents.
So they
okay. Don't bend or move. So I'm like, well, maybe if we took out a ceiling tile or two and had like the head and torso, make it look like he was falling out of the ceiling. But I'm like, the weight on a drop ceiling. So I'm like, I'm just going to have to find something different for the store. Oh, he's already found one. So that might be what lives in the store.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
A different one.
Yeah.
But Halloween's coming. You better jump on it now.
Started August 1st for fans. But since we were talking about the fairy, and it just slipped my mind till now, fairy mushroom circle out in the front yard.
We talked about it at the book club, and there it is. The circle is starting. And again, when you want that to be gone, take it down from the outside of the circle. Don't get in the middle of the circle to get rid of the mushrooms. Take them out from the sides. That's their circle. They sing, they dance, they do all kinds of weird things in the middle of that circle, but they don't want humans in that circle. So definitely take them out from around. People say that sometimes old mulch will make the mushrooms grow. But if it's mulch, why aren't they all over? Why are they in a circle?
Oh, right. And this is in the middle of grass. So
that's right. So that's crazy.
Yeah, everybody wants a skeleton now. If you are in the Cleveland area, there is a Facebook group called Cleveland Haunt Club. Join that group if you're after one of these skeletons, because anytime any of us find these in a Home Depot, they take a picture, put it up and say like Strongsville Home Depot has 8. And that's how I got mine. Like one of my workers like messaged me and they're like, Strongsville Home Depot said they had 20. Within the hour of me getting that notification and calling, they were down to 8. They would not sell me one over the phone and hold it. And by the time I got there, they were down to 6. So if you're out of the area, I don't know if any of your local Halloween or haunt clubs or whatever do the same thing, but they are constantly like so-and-so has them, so-and-so has them, if you're, or some of the other bigger ones. But that's the only way I got mine, because I've been trying for over a year to score one of these guys. And they dropped, like I said, from 2021 to like, what was it, 6 or 8 by the time I got there an hour later. So, and it's a very, very big box. If you do get one, keep that in mind. I have a 2020 Durango, 2021 actually, and it barely fit.
Oh, jeez.
So be prepared. If you do want to go get one and you're going to get it, have a vehicle that can handle it. How do I store him off season? We don't know. We're going to find out. He may have to stay.
Can you get him back in the box?
So when I tried putting him up at the store and he didn't fit, he had to go back in, and I got everything back in except for the metal basing, the base thing that he anchors to and that you actually tie down into the ground. And that actually is the first thing out of the box when you open it. And I just could not get it.
Back
And I
in.
was also afraid of damaging any of the parts by pushing.
Yeah.
So I got him all back in there. It was just his stand. So when he got reloaded into the Durango to come here, like he was in his box and then the stand was like between seats and everything standing up. But I already kind of warned my mom, who has a very large basement. I'm like, he's going to live down there in a box when he does come down. She's like, fine. So, but yeah, I do plan on getting one for the store that's going to stay up year round, that gets different outfits and holds signs and just generally has fun, period. So
Sounds like a plan.
all right, guys. Well, bye.
See you next Wednesday.
Yes. And check out the podcast if you haven't. New episodes
Please.
go out every Wednesday morning. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Vacation, here I come.
Enjoy.